Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today is part two of how can you become successful in college, right? So there's part one, how to be successful in college. This is part two, how to be successful in college. So there are two parts to this. So if you haven't seen either part, make sure you go and you watch the other one. So how to be successful in college, this is part two. So I'm going to pick up from where I left off last time, and we're going to, go over some tips that I think are really useful for you as you're going along your college journey. So please, put these to practice because I guarantee you it would really make a difference in your college experience and how successful you are going through college. So I have a list of stuff written down, and so I'm just going to go over them with you and kind of explain some of them as I go. So the first one in this video is I would encourage you to make friends with the people in the library, right? Or even if it's just one librarian. So I would really recommend that you make friends with people in the library or one librarian. And a lot of times at some universities, some colleges, what they would do is they'll have certain people that work in the library, certain librarians who are specifically uh, going to be working with students who are in certain majors. So you might have a librarian who works with people who are in fine arts, someone who works with people who are in the sciences, or multiple people, right? Depending on the size of the school or the university, multiple librarians assigned to certain majors. So get to know who's the person assigned to your major, or if it's not like that at your school, because I've been to some schools where they didn't have anyone specifically assigned, but you can still make friends with these people because they would really help you find the resources that are necessary for you because you have to write papers as you're studying for exams, research and stuff like that that you need to do. So make friends with the people that work in the library, right? Maybe specifically those that are assigned to your discipline if it's set up like that at the school that you're attending. The other one still also has to do with the library. I found that going through college, one of the most useful things was for me to attend those research sessions, those little tutorial research sessions that the library would have. And you'll see it again at a lot of schools where they will have these sessions that teach you how to do research, right? These how to do research, these different, how to use the different terminologies and all that sort of stuff when you're actually conducting good research. You've probably heard the name, if you're in university or you've probably heard the name scholarly academic articles, that type of stuff, how to find good articles, how to find the information that's useful for you, again, as you're studying and you're writing your research papers. So, attend these sessions, these research sessions. They're really helpful. And look, if you're going to be in college and you're going to be successful, you're going to have to write papers. And if you're really taking it seriously and you're really trying to do well, then you're going to attend those research sessions because they're really, really important. Again, I've been to a number of schools, and I think all of them, except one, right? All of them actually had those types of classes that I could remember, right? All of them had those research courses, and they're usually free, right? They're usually free as well, and you can go in and you can learn, some stuff. So kind of take advantage of that. All right. The next thing is, while we're on free, a lot of times at colleges and universities, now every school that I have attended had these. They'll put on these free workshops, resume workshops, finance workshops, finance 101, health workshops, job interview workshops. I'm trying to think of stuff off the top of my head. All those different workshops, usually around lunchtime and a lot of times on Fridays, but usually they're spread out during the week because they're trying to, and usually they'll have multiple sessions at bigger schools so that they can, kind of give a wider variety or a broader spectrum of students the opportunity to attend those sessions. So they'll have Monday, Wednesdays, and they'll have Tuesday, Thursdays, because some people take their classes on certain days only because it's more convenient for them. So attend those sessions, those Finance 101, how to manage your money, the health sessions, how to eat healthy, workout tips, resume writing, how to interview for a job. All those sessions are really, really helpful, and you can learn so much. As I said, they're technically free, but once you're typically paying a college tuition and fees, that's kind of wrapped up in there, right? But it's just that you don't have to pay any additional amounts of money to attend those sessions. So I would encourage you to really attend those sessions because they can make a serious difference in your college experience. And then it's kind of like information that you're going to need going forward. So that's the next thing. All right, the other thing that I think is really important is watch what classes you take together. So pay attention to the courses that you take at the same time. If you are, I've seen some people do some weird things in college, when I was a student, and I've seen some people take some crazy classes together and then wonder, why did I take finance, statistics, some other complicated math class, and I'm not good at math, and I'm doing all these things at once. Like, you've got to look at and that's why I say if you go back to part 1, I talk about why you really need to have a good advisor and make friends with your advisor, become friends with your advisor, and why that person is critical, because you really got to look at what courses you need to take, and then try not to take all the difficult classes at the same time together, the ones that are going to really cause you to struggle, right? Or take courses that they're very heavy on writing, and so you're going to have to write a lot of papers or whatever the case is, because you're taking all these heavy writing classes, and then you just can't find the time for it. So you've got to be really careful how you do that. Those types of classes that you take at the same time. Look at the schedule, right? Don't kill yourself, because what happens is, if you take all these difficult classes, a lot of times you can't keep up. You risk failing or having to drop or whatever the case is, and that sometimes doesn't look good on your academic record if you're just failing classes or getting D's or C's or whatever the case is. So you kind of want to avoid that, especially depending on the career you want to go into. You're very conscious about what is on your transcript. So watch the courses that you take together, because that could make a huge impact on your grades and your college experience as well. So that's the other thing that I think is really important for you to consider. All right, so as we're on schedule, the other thing is, watch how many classes you take per semester, right? I know sometimes people need to take a certain amount of classes because of financial aid. They're on financial aid, or their scholarship says that they have to take 12 hours or whatever. Okay, if that's the case, fine. But if you're one of those people who have more flexibility or whatever, watch how many courses you take per semester, because then you have to factor in, if you're working, you have to factor in that you don't just show up to class and pass. There's a lot of work that you have to do outside of the classroom. And if you're going to have time to do that work, and you're a mom, or a single mom or dad or whatever the case is, and you got all these things going on. You have to work. So you're a student and you work as well. So you got a lot of stuff going on in your life that you've got to keep up with, and it becomes really overwhelming if you're taking 5 classes or 4 classes, and you might not finish as fast as someone else, but the goal is to finish. Right? The goal is to finish, and to not necessarily struggle as much while you're going through the process, but to be able to kind of have some kind of life balance as you're going through. As I say, some of you might be married or whatever the case is, and you've got to have a balance between family, work, and school. And so you can't just burden yourself so much with schoolwork that you don't have time to kind of relax and spend time with your family and your loved ones or whatever the case is. So try to find that balance. If you've got to work and all that type of stuff, how many classes are you taking how many classes are you taking, plus you've got to work and all that? Because for every class that you take, there's a certain amount of hours outside of the classroom that you actually have to put in if you're really serious about being successful. I don't think a lot of people think about that as well. So look at your work, family, schedule, all that sort of stuff, and try to find that good balance, that medium for you. That's the next thing. All right. The other thing is we're on work. Now, some of you might be full-time students or whatnot, and you have the opportunity to, you still want to work, right? I think if that's the case, then I think working on campus is one of those things that you just have to seriously consider. Because from my experience in college, and a lot of times in college, I worked on campus. I had off-campus jobs as well, but I worked on campus mostly, and that's because it was convenient. Well, I didn't have a car as well, so it was very difficult for me to drive to go anywhere anyway. But so I worked on campus as well. So I had a job where I worked in the computer lab. Actually, I had that computer lab job for quite a while, right? Became weekend supervisor working in the computer lab. I worked as a research assistant as well to a couple of professors also. So I had a lot of one, it was convenient for me because I didn't have a car, but also it allowed me to be able to do a lot of my school work. Because if you're working on campus, especially when I worked in the computer lab, during the slow times, and sometimes even the busy times, but during the slow times, especially kind of like in the beginning, middle of the semester, you have some downtime. So I was able to do my research right there in the computer, write my papers, all that sort of stuff, and just kind of take these little odd 20-30 minutes to kind of write and just kind of make my progress that way. So I felt like that was really convenient. Obviously for me it was even more convenient not having money to have a vehicle and all that type of stuff, to have a car going through school. So it was very convenient to me. The other thing is that it built a lot of relationships with people as well, professional relationships as well, because I was working on campus. So when it came to letters of recommendation or anything like that, that was really helpful for me because I'd made really good connections with people, as I said, working in the lab. And then obviously when I became a research assistant to 4 professors, right? And so that really did help me have those real professional connections. And so getting letters of recommendation was absolutely not a problem for me at all. So that's another thing that I would suggest, is that you really kind of look into working on campus. All right, it's really helpful. The next thing is consider joining a student organization if you have time, right? Consider joining a student organization if you have time. So that is something that would be really beneficial to you, really helpful to you. Consider joining a student organization. That can make a huge difference because you get to network. A lot of these people you could be able to do your school work with. You have study groups that you can join, and it just helps to make the experience a whole lot better. There's a lot of networking. You never know, they can help you find jobs. But just to really make the experience a whole lot better, again, put something on your resume as well. And when you join these organizations, sometimes I suggest, well, for me, I wanted to have actually a position in those organizations. So what it was, president of the International Student Association, having a position on student government, all that sort of stuff. I had top positions because that's something that I wanted to do. Because again, it helps to build on your resume, and it looks good as you're going to be leaving college and kind of entering into the world and the workforce, so to speak, right? So those are some tips that I think are really beneficial, right? And then make sure, one more actually before I go, have a schedule. Just for overall, for everything, set a schedule. Kind of have a plan. Look at your syllabus at the beginning of the semester. Read the syllabus. If you're going to be successful in college, read the syllabus at the beginning of the semester. Look and see what things you might need explained. Contact your professors. Remember, that's in part 1, building that relationship with your professors. But look at your syllabus, read through it, see what might be difficult to you, and what might you need to start working on immediately, right? Those are some things you really got to take advantage of. I would start to write papers that won't due until the end of the semester, at the beginning of the semester. So I'll look at it, I'll see, okay, this is a 15-page or whatever. I'm going to go talk to the professor. What are you looking for? I want to start writing it. And a lot of times I did that. I was ahead of time. And then I was able to give the professors the papers to read, and they had time to read it because it wasn't due for weeks. And I wasn't pressing them at the last minute to look at anything. And so obviously I got good grades on those, and that really just kind of helped with my writing as well. So those are just some things I want you to consider. Have a schedule, make a schedule, right? Look at the syllabus, right? And plan things out as you go. Well, those are just some tips I want to share with you. If anyone of you have any more tips, please leave them in the comments. Please don't forget to subscribe, turn on your post notifications. You can share this video with anyone else that you know is also in college. Remember to go back and look at part 2 and check out my other videos as well. Don't forget to hit the like button, and until next time, peace.